Welcome to GigaBrain, brought to you by Alma Labs. This is the podcast where we speak to the smartest minds across the DeFi space, exploring the ideas, innovations, and people shaping the future of crypto.
Okay, and we are back with another episode of the GigaBrain podcast, and we are here with Hydrex. We are here with Jimbo today, the creative growth and marketing lead at Hydrex, which builds itself as a base frictionless liquidity hub. So welcome, Jimbo, and really happy to have you here. So let's start with a little bit about Hydrex, a little bit about your background. So please let us know who you are and what's your role at Hydrex, and what has been your crypto journey so far, and what really pulled you to the space to begin with.
For sure. Well, thank you for having us. We're happy to be here. I'm really excited to tell you guys what we're building at Hydrex. So personally, I'm, as you said, the creative growth and marketing lead at Hydrex. So I plan and coordinate all the marketing and content campaigns, as well as work with any partners or promotions we have to get that co-marketing set up. So my crypto journey, it started actually back in 2017. It was when I first got in buying Bitcoin and Ethereum. As I'm sure a lot of people did. It's funny to think back then when, 10K was high and everyone was losing their minds. But I started back then and then kept going throughout the years. And then in 2021, I got into DeFi when that first big boom happened. And then I was working in marketing for some various DeFi projects. And then throughout the years, I've gone back between corporate, still dabbling in DeFi and crypto. But then over the past year, I've gotten much more into it as I have been helping build Hydrex. So that's it's been pretty much my journey over the past few years.
Nice. Like I started in 2013, so imagine that. Like I started also BTC mining. So that's really nice to see another old school guy around. Like I love that. And like 10K was like max. I thought personally that could never go higher than 10K. When I saw 10K, I was like, damn, I need to sell everything right now.
Yeah, I got to go all in.
It's
It's so funny to think about it now. As it gets close to 100K, we think it's low.
Exactly. It's crazy. So, thank you for that explanation there. And so, what's your biggest inspirations here and aspirations in the space, and what really influenced your approach to building crypto, and why Hydrex now?
Yeah, so definitely been inspired by the bigger DEXs in the space, especially throughout the years as I've seen them evolve, and just how they've kept iterating on the space and building. So, for example, I've been using Uniswap for years, and personally, I've just loved to see how they've innovated on liquidity. As they came out with V3 and then V4, it's just really nice to see that. Just because, especially, I think. So as people, as we keep growing in the space, as people keep coming into crypto, just having liquidity be as efficient as possible is going to be huge, just to facilitate all the swaps and all the people coming in and building projects. And that's definitely influenced us, as I'll get into later. But with Hydrex, we're trying to build a frictionless DeFi platform. So helping people get in to use a DEX and to get into the flywheel as seamlessly as possible, and to give them the strategies they want to earn the tokens they want as easy as possible.
Right. And can you tell us a little bit more, going into the company and the company overview, like what's the story of Hydrex and what is the problem that you are really solving as of today?
Yeah. So Hydrex started, so our team, we've been building on Base for over the past year. And we've worked on various different chains in the past, but Base has been the best in terms of supporting creators, as well as really building the tools that builders need to build a great product. And compared to other chains I've been on, they've been super responsive in terms of wanting to help and promote, as well as just giving people the spotlight they deserve. A lot of times with chains, they kind of favor one or two projects, don't really want to help anyone else out. But Base has done a great job of doing that. And then definitely, as you've seen, they're helping bridge the gap between Base and Coinbase to help people come in. And actually last week, they just got it so that DEXs are incorporated into the Coinbase app. So any asset on Base can be traded directly on Coinbase. So seeing that innovation was just a huge driver for why we wanted to develop Hydrex, because through building On Base, we noticed that a lot of projects, either the bigger DEXs on there weren't accommodating them, or when they got their liquidity on there, they just didn't get much support. With the dozens of projects on there, it's hard for these bigger DEXs like Aerodrome or Uniswap to really give them the support they need as it happens. So we really wanted Hydrex to fill the holes that these bigger DEXs leave on Base, to help accommodate all projects, to help them grow, and to make the user interface as seamless as possible. Because when you're using these bigger DEXs, especially a B33 meta DEX like Aerodrome, it takes a lot of DeFi knowledge to really know what you're doing. And even someone like me who's been in there for years, I still get confused sometimes trying to figure out, when you come in with ranges and trying to do all the epoch voting. It's a lot, especially for a new user, and as Coinbase really brings those new users onto Base, they need a DEX that can accommodate them and help them get into that flywheel and start earning with that frictionless DeFi, which we're building. So I know it's kind of a long-winded answer, but that's really what inspired us to really innovate on the DEX space, both supports protocols and new users coming in.
Got it. So one thing that you said is about Base is about the support, right? So that's one of the main reasons why you chose Base, or there is more reasons specifically for why Base?
Yeah, that was a huge reason. Just because it's nice when you're building to get that support directly from the chain. And they've been great with Hydrex. They supported our launch and have helped us build support because we're currently in our pre-mining phase. We can touch on that a bit later, but even through that, they've been very responsive. And we've done a lot to incorporate all of their latest tech innovations they've had on chain, such as flash blocks, their sub accounts. So it's been really nice to have them help us build something that works as well with all the base products they have.
Got it. And one thing that we see a lot is you talking on your tweets about the concept of frictionless DeFi. What does that mean?
Yeah. So, when you go into a lot of these DEXs, there is a lot of user friction that comes in when you're trying to create a position, especially as I said. So just to give a little more on Hydrex, we are a B33 meta DEX, but we do innovate on the current model quite a bit. And that's where that frictionless comes in. So when you go into most of the user interfaces for a B33 DEX, you have to come in even creating the liquidity, it takes multiple transactions. It's not as clear of like what you're earning or how you're earning, because just give a quick overview on that. Essentially, you earn a token, which can be locked, and then you can use that to earn a portion of the trading fees. And it takes a lot of steps, a lot of upkeep, because you have to vote weekly. And especially for someone who's coming in new, there's a lot of friction on that process, both in just how to learn, and you're going to lose out on a lot of the power of the flywheel just as you start to understand how it all works. And so with Hydrex, we're really solving that to make it as frictionless as possible. So, and this is part of the reason why we really wanted to build on Base. So with their flash blocks and smart transactions, usually when you go into stake into a LP position, it can be 5 or 6 manual transactions you have to approve as you go to take the token, sell it for half, create the LP, stake it in there. But with smart transactions, we can do that in one batch transaction. And with flash blocks, it's in 200 milliseconds. So it really is the most frictionless way users should come in, one click, get in, start earning. And once Hydrex is live, we're looking for our TGE in the next few weeks. We'll have some more information on that as we get closer. But our positions, when a user comes in, it'll be much more automated in how they get in. So we can, we'll have an AI bot set up so users can come in, tell us what tokens they want to earn, what they want to stake. And we can help get that set up for them and have it be automated through the flywheel.
Nice. No, I heard TGE soon, and that's like big alpha already. So let's go.
Yeah.
Let's go. Always love to hear that,
It's very exciting. Yeah, we'll have a full article out in the next few days, but definitely give you guys the alpha.
Amazing. Let's do it. So another question that I have here is, so you said a lot of like fantastic things, but what's your really specific approach to compete with big players and other big companies doing something similar to you, maybe?
For sure. So yeah, as I said on Base, so the biggest DEXs right now are Uniswap and Aerodrome. And a lot of times when we talk about Hydrex, people are saying, why do we need another DEX on Base? Which is a great question, trying to compete with these, $1 billion projects. It sounds good on paper, but actually doing that, it's a lot more that goes into it.
Yeah, I know. I speak with Miguel a lot, and he tells me like it's really hard, like to go through this desert and to really get all the contacts and everything. So I know how it is, like to build a project from scratch. Also did it, and like the first months are really rough. So yeah,
Oh yeah, no, it is. It's just as you start building up the project, it's always toughest in the first few months, but we've definitely made a lot of headway. And I think, as I said, like our vision resonates with a lot of projects on Base, because we're not really competing with these bigger DEXs, but more filling the holes they leave on Base. So we really want to give all projects a chance to have support, not only to have their liquidity on a DEX, but to be incentivized to help grow. And then the beautiful thing about the MetaDex model is that once projects, own our block tokens, they can essentially direct emissions towards their pools to help further incentivize, and then they can help their communities get in on that as well, so they can build up naturally, which they don't really get the chance to do with these larger DEXs. And that's really what we want, is to help all projects on Base have a place where they can grow, and that their communities can come into as well and help them grow it.
got it. Got it. No, perfect. And now going on a little bit more of more generic questions about your opinions on the DeFi ecosystem. Like, what's your biggest lesson from building in DeFi in general?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing, there's a lot of lessons I've learned, especially over the years, but I think it's always build with agility. So the DeFi space especially just changes so quickly, week to week, something new comes out, or there's, just things you learn about. And it's hard, you build for the future, but you have to be able to shift quickly if things come out. So I think that's the biggest lesson to anyone building in DeFi. It's like, always be willing to look at new things. Obviously you have to keep the core vision alive, but if something new comes up that can help, or something you realize isn't working well, you need to be able to shift quickly and accommodate that. It's not always the easiest thing to do, but definitely the biggest takeaway I've learned in DeFi.
Yeah, agree, 100%. What's your most controversial take in crypto or DeFi as of now?
Oh, that's a good one. I think personally, I don't know how controversial it is now. It was much more a few years ago, but I think a lot of smaller chains, or chains you see pop up, aren't going to have much relevance in the future. I've seen a lot pop up over the years, especially in 2021. There was a lot of people just building L2s or side chains, and they would have a little bit of a hype cycle and then just kind of fade away. And I think, as we keep going, there's going to be just a few core chains that really have a lot of traction. There'll be a lot of smaller ones that probably solve a little ecosystem, but nothing like the major chains.
Yeah, 100%. And what can you name a protocol that you think that will still be here in 2050? So in 25 years.
I can only imagine what the landscape looks like then.
I think we all probably are retired at that time, but we don't care. But I don't know,
we better be, or we did something wrong.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think that's a really good question. I think definitely the bigger ones that have been established throughout all the cycles. I think Uniswap, Aave, I could definitely see those being there, just because they serve such a core need and do it well, and they've been innovating. But I still think there's a lot of time between now and then for new protocols to come up and rise to the top as well, be able to secure space.
Yeah. And what, and also curious, what do you think that is happening now that people are not paying enough attention to? So something really exotic that you are seeing, I don't know, in Twitter or something that you think, okay, this is going to be important, but people are not paying enough attention.
Ooh, that's a really good question. I can't really think of anything off the top of my head that's crazy. I think just in terms, this is more just an overall in DeFi that I've noticed, but I think a really good thing to focus on is ways that you can automate current positions and current ways of earning. I've always seen that be ones that take off, and I think as soon as that comes up and you can do it well and people understand what they're doing, there's always a market for that, to be able to automate positions and allow people to earn easier. But I can't really think of anything I feel like people are sleeping on. I feel like
automation is a good is a good answer. Like I think a lot of people are looking into that. Like the trend of AI is still here and is still here to stay. From what I hear is more about like how you can put AI to automate DeFi positions, DeFi trading with AI, etc., etc. DeFi AI vaults. I hear a lot about this, so maybe.
Yeah, I definitely think just finding ways to do that and do it more efficiently will always be a need in the market.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. So last question from this batch. What is your favorite non-crypto tech trend right now?
Oh, it might sound a little generic, but I really do like the innovations that are happening with AI. I think just in terms of being able to, in a way, help level the playing field or allow people who don't have skill sets to get in by using AI. Like obviously with anything, you have to kind of have some idea or else it's just going to be like the AI slop you see where people are just building things or trying to make something with AI and it's very obvious. But I am very interested to see how that grows over the years to see just how people can use it and how it evolves.
No, 100%. Like, yeah, I agree there. And yeah, coming back to Hydrex and the next trends in the future of the company. So really, what's coming up for Hydrex? You said TG, so it's a huge one. And after that, like, how does the roadmap of the company look like, and what can you share a little bit more about, let's say, end of Q3, Q4, Q1 next year? What's the next steps and what's the next trends of evolution that you can share?
For sure. So yeah, well, we're really building in ways for us to more innovate on the DEX space and especially on base. So as with most DEXs, they only have their own LP type, and that's all they incentivize. So if you're on Uniswap, you can only have Uniswap LPs. If you're on Aerodrome, we can only have Aerodrome LPs. But we're taking what we call an Omni Liquidity approach. So no matter where a user's or a project's liquidity is on base, we can help accommodate that and have emissions targeted towards that pool. So we currently have that set up with a few partners who have most of their liquidity on Uniswap, but they have pre-mining pools live with us now to help them get in early and help them start earning in Hydrex. And the one thing that's really cool about this, we'll have more information out about it once we're live, but we can have this set up with any yield source essentially. So it doesn't even have to be an LP as long as it's earning yield. We could have a pool set up where people can have emissions directed towards it. So this is something our devs have really been working on. And we actually just had our audit finalized this week. So everything's pretty good to go on it. We just have to get everything set up on the front end. But I think it's really going to be a game changer in terms of instead of, only allowing projects to come in and earn on your own LP type, we can set that up for essentially anything as long as it's generating yield.
Got it. And what do you expect from Base in the next, let's say, 1 to 2 years in terms of evolution that can also affect Hydrex positively?
Yeah, I think they're going to do a lot to help bring new users on chain, which has been their ethos for the past few months. But especially seeing them with the Coinbase app to allow DEX trading on there, it's really cool to see because, users can start going from like a centralized exchange to more decentralized and on-chain without even knowing it. And I kind of think that is the future too for DeFi, is that users will be using it, earning on it, and not even really understand that they're using it. And that goes back to our vision of having that frictionless DeFi. Because I think, especially the past few years, like trying to get it even on-chain has been a hassle. You had to bridge so many times. And then once you get on, you have to kind of understand the protocol, learn how all these things work. And then even then, it's just such a hassle. So I think Base is doing a really good job to do that. And especially, if Coinbase users can start getting on Base, it just brings on so much more possibilities in terms of growth and just innovation in the space. So that's what I'm really excited to see. I think if they can execute on it well, it's really going to position Base as a top chain, even though it already is, but just even more so.
Yeah. And do you think that right now on the DEX landscape, we are heading towards a consolidation, winner takes all, or a new wave of innovation? Like, how do you see it?
Ooh, so I think this kind of goes for any space within crypto or DeFi, but there are always a few top players who in terms of either TVL or volume have the most, as we've seen on any chain or any project. But I think, as you said, with the new wave of innovation, I think there's always room for innovation and new ideas and new projects. So I think, there'll always be like the Aabes and Uniswaps are going to have billions of TVL and billions of volume. But anyone who can come in and innovate or, take an existing strategy and make it easier or automated for users, I think there's always going to be that space as well. So even though there will be those top players, I think innovation's always going to be there and always going to have a space.
Yeah, no, 100%. Like, and for example, if you have any advice for new builders coming into the space today, especially for DEXs, like, what do you say? Because I see a lot of people trying to build DEXs nowadays. Like, every day I have people texting me like, "Oh, I have a new DEX. I have a new DEX." I'm like, "What?" So what will be your your I don't know, like, advice or maybe say like, "No, don't do it." Like, it's just for Hydrex. Don't do it. I don't know.
Yeah, we always welcome competition to see what other people are building. But no, that's a really good question. I think I know I've been talking a lot about innovation on this, but I think just making a DEX on its own, back in 2021, we saw like, every day there's a new DEX, a new swap popping up. It's just a fork. And I think a lot of that has essentially died down to where unless you're launching a DEX that's innovating or bringing something new to the space, it's just going to probably have like a little hype cycle and die. Because, we've kind of just run through that initial bubble that came with like DEXs and new tokens to be earned. So for anyone building, especially in the DEX space, I think the biggest thing is like, how can you either make something easier for users or how can you create something new that people need is going to be the way for it to actually live long. And that's what we're doing at Hydrex. We're really trying to innovate and fill that market need that we see on base. And just really excited to see how that goes.
Perfect. And yeah, like, as you said, a lot of things and a lot of perfect, beautiful things about Hydrex, a lot about Base. Like, if you could just sum it up in one, let's say one sentence or two sentences for our listeners today, like, what would you say about Hydrex specifically? Main takeaways here.
Yeah, I would say the main takeaways is we're looking to fill the holes on Base currently, where the current DEXs aren't accommodating users and projects. And with that, we're doing it all within a completely new UI to make it so everyone can come in and start earning. And I'm really excited. We'll have that out at launch, but I'm going to be planning some marketing teasers around it. It's definitely, I know I'm biased here, but the best UX I've seen within a V33 DEX to allow users to come in, choose, the risk level they want, what tokens they want to earn, and then set that up to be automated for them. So I can't wait for everyone to get their hands on it. I know that was a little more than a couple sentences, but
no, it's perfect. It's perfect. No, thanks for that. And by the way, like, I don't want to finish this without talking about TGE, right? So what can you tell us about TGE, any new alpha? So you tell us about all these new experiences, which is super beautiful, and thanks for that. But what about TGE? What about September? Like, feed us the alpha,
Definitely. So yeah, I'll start with that by telling you where Hydrex is at currently. So we're currently, as I said, we're in our pre-mining phase, which we call the base drop. So, it's very different from typical pre-mining to where, you come in, you earn points or you earn, a token essentially, and then you get that airdrop at the end. What we're doing is we're giving people the chance to get permanent earning and voting power within Hydrex during this phase. So you come in and you stake liquidity to earn what we call Hydro points. And then at the end of the campaign, those are convertible to our vote escrow token, which essentially, if you use the V33 protocol, that gives you the permanent earning for weekly fees within Hydrex. And so this is for any user or projects can come in to start earning that. And then we also have our badges. So these reward people for their participation in the base ecosystem, as well as with partner projects. So for example, we have it, if you have a base name, you can come in and claim a badge. If you're a Coinbase One member, you can claim a badge. And we have these set up for top DeFi partners and NFT collections. If you own the NFT, you can claim a badge. And the best thing about this is that those are redeemable for the vote escrow token as well. So we're allowing people to be rewarded for their participation in base. And so going into that, Yeah, the base drop will last until mid-September. We'll have the date publicized later this week, but it'll be within the next few weeks. We're very excited to get to that TGE. But yeah, there's still plenty of time for people who want to come in to start earning Hydro points, to start getting that permanent earning power within Hydrex. And yeah, we're just super excited to get that out and get launched. I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
Perfect, man. Thanks for that. Super big alpha here. We are definitely going to. So what we do is normally we do some shorts of the clip and we post it on social. So definitely going to also share the alpha with the community. So thanks for that. And yeah, like just let us know how can people get more involved. What's your website, Twitter, any maybe tips for early adopters that you can share maybe.
For sure. So our website is hydrex.fi. And then from there, you can find our X, which is where we post all of our updates. We're also very active on Farcaster, if you use that. And one thing I did mention, but we are fully functional within a mini app as well, both on Farcaster and in the base app, which is in beta. But once you can still access everything in Hydrex from there. And then once that goes to its full release, Hydrex will be in there as well, which is another thing we're doing to differentiate ourselves. But yeah, with that, we also have our Discord community. So if you have any questions, everyone can drop in. We like to have fun in there as well. So we have all of our memes and our stickers and everything. So we'd love to have anyone join that. And then, yeah, we put out all of our announcements on X. So that'll be the best place for users to follow along and learn.
Nice, man. Thank you so much. I think it was really, really insightful. Guys, follow Hydrex. Go get into the Discord community. Just search more. They are pretty G, so there is a lot to gain from being with these guys. And I also know like the team personally, man. I know Miguel for ages. Used to work with me in my previous company. So it's great people, great team, and yeah, go search it. And I think you guys are really going to like it. Jimbo, thank you so much for being here. And excited to see this episode live. And thank you once again for joining us for this podcast.
Definitely. Thanks for having us. Looking forward to connecting with everyone. Yeah, it's going to be exciting times.
Perfect. Thank you. And guys, join us for a next episode soon. And thank you, Jimbo. Thank you, Hydrex. And we'll see you in the next episode. Thanks. Cheers.
Gigabrain is brought to you by Spell Labs. To find out more about Swell, go to spellnetwork.io and make sure to search for Gigabrain in Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Hit the follow button so you don't miss any future episodes. Thanks for listening.